Yeah. Social media is the new junk food, I would say, not necessarily fast food. And it's even stronger than junk food. To our brain, it's as important as food and sex. And while it's quite obvious why food and sex is so important to us, it's not quite obvious why social media is, to our brain, so important. I've got to revert to some background information. Paul really described getting off the internet. And I think I felt somehow the same like 10 years ago. I also was quite a lot in front of the internet, and then I decided, oh, I don't want to spend my whole life in front of the computer. It was all quite new, and I was really in it. And I even went to Southern Africa for a year to really get away from it and really look for a different thing. And it worked, but it only worked half. Because when I came back, and during this time as well, there's far too many positive effects and positive things of new technology. And also my love for new gadgets is still too big that I can't really leave them out of my hands. But yeah, social media, taking time off. Social media is the new junk food. When I look at the junk food, there are many nice and great things. I love Oreos, I love a Coke. I love the sugar, I love the strong flavor of it. I love chips from time to time, but I guess you all know the feeling of eating chips. You eat chips and at one point you say, could somebody take this bag away from me? I don't want to have it anymore. And somehow it's the same with social media. I loved being on Twitter, I love to read the news feed. I love the affirmation of Facebook likes. I love being connected to my girlfriend, getting a text message before my talk. There are so many great benefits of it. But at one point, sometimes it's also like you play with it and you think, could somebody take this device away from me? I don't want to have it anymore. And I'm still playing around and wondering, what did I do the last half an hour? In the past or now, we know when we consume too much junk food, it's not very healthy for us. But what was happening the last 50 years is that we got more and more access to food, to cheap and accessible food. We built up a whole industry, and as a side product, we built up we became this junk food, which is just optimized with loads of sugar and fat and things, which we really like, but on the long run, it's not really healthy to us. And so the last 10 years, we realized, hey, we should look at our consumption, what we really eat. And now we start to be much more aware of it, and we also teach our children very differently. The same is happening with information and the information industry. The last 20 years, we got more and more connected, more and more information was there. The last 5 years with the iPhone and smartphone, the access changed so fast. But also in this process, there's more and more junk information coming up. And we are not really being able to deal with it, or we don't have necessarily to be able to deal with it, but we've got to learn with it because it's so new and at the same time it's so strong. And there's the question, why can't we really switch off? And the answer, it's quite simple, because we're humans. And when you look into the psychology, there are different reasons why we love it so much. And we love new information, like our survival and the last years, or the last thousands of years we evolved around information. We had to learn in order to survive. Learning makes us happy. That's the reason why you're here. You love TED Talks, you love inspiring new information, and it makes you happy. Also, we are social animals. We want to be part of the group. We need the affirmation of the people around us, and we seek for this. And of course, social media is social information, so it's highly relevant to us. And we develop very strong habits with the devices we have. We check them all the time, and we become conditioned on this. Like in psychology, when you've got really a interval reinforcement that you can't predict, so you've got only from time to time a positive reward. It's very strong conditioning, and the same is happening with our devices. We look at it, most of the times there isn't much new stuff on it. Only from time to time there's this positive reward, which makes us very happy. But just because we check it and we don't know when, it's so exciting, and it's just, we look at it all the time. Just look around here, who has a device, or which of your neighbors has a device around, or in the tram as well, you see it all the time. But on the other side, we also have other needs, which we have because we are humans, and what we really need, and we need some space for ourselves. And there are many things you might want to do when you have the space for yourself. One thing, what Paul also talked about, was solitude. And we need this solitude, this time for ourselves. You see it in meditation, in yoga, many people seek. Throughout history, like in religion, you have silentness in there. It plays a very important role. Also, like to contain yourself, to be able to cope with your emotions. Like as parents look like with kids that they can contain their emotions. When we are adults, we've got to cope it ourselves. But many people just spill them out on the internet now and hope somebody helps. And we are just like forgetting somehow how we deal with those emotions. So having solitude is very powerful and not very easy to really go through this boredom and everything and coping with yourself. And it's much easier really to look for different distraction and not really keeping it. Also we need conversation, not mere connection. There's so much to human exchange, and over the internet and over technology, so much gets lost. And how to have a good conversation which is in real time and which you can't edit and where you really have to be yourself and really see the other person as well. It's also a skill we've got to train. And there's a very nice TED talk from Sherry Turkle where she talks about this. And last but not least, there's also like, we need to disconnect to recover. Especially nowadays our work becomes more and more flexible. We can work anywhere, every time. But when is there time to really like shut it off, leave it, disconnect from the stress, get a free mind, have this boredom, be creative, and not being on standby all the time? Because being on standby, you still need the energy to have. And when you can't switch off, you just burn out. So really disconnect. And there are many more things which you might want to disconnect for. Being focused on a piece of work you want to do, just being for yourself. I think you've got 1,000 things you could think of you would like to do, which are not possible now. And it all sums up finding the right balance. Paul also like, yeah, what's the right balance of doing it? And as with food, I mean, it's totally fine to have loads of chocolate, sugar, chips, and everything, but not every time, every 5 minutes, constantly. And the same is with social media. Be the whole day on Facebook, do thousands of things there, but not all the time and everywhere. There's also like, all the time you are connected, there needs to be time where you aren't connected, where you can really experience the solitude, where you experience and train conversation and really disconnect. During the last year, I was working on Offtime, a company which helps people to disconnect and to make it more easy. But the problem is bigger than this. And right now, you've got the laptop, you've got the smartphone, you've got the television, of course, you've got the PlayStation to play around and daddle around, and that's basically it. But just like over the next 20 years, the digital revolution is just like moving on. And there are many more screens in the future. You're going to talk with your fridge, and on your fridge there will be some tweets, and in your car there will it be, and you've got your iWatch, and you've got Google Glass. And right now you can still escape. But when we don't learn now the right balance and the right mindset and the right technology, and when we don't develop this, over 20 years, it's very difficult for us to really like escape this or find it. So we really need a discussion where and how we want to use social media and where we want to have it and where it really makes sense. And a first step to get there is really to recognize our weakness. It's a weakness we have as humans that it's very difficult for us to disconnect, because there is this urge for the new information, there is this urge for the social, there is this strong habit we develop. And it's very hard to bring up this discipline every day to have to deal with this temptation. Like when you've got your mobile with you all the time, it's every urge you have, you've got to bring up the discipline and tell yourself, not now. So it's very hard. And realizing this and reflecting this is really a first step. And a second step is really to look for a new kind of technology, a technology that doesn't exploit us, but that does support us. Thank you.